Hello friends, the reason we all exist on this beautiful planet called Earth is because we practically do not have any choice but to live. We all are searching for happiness all around us. When everything is going nicely and we are in best of our mood, we thank our stars for everything that is beautiful about everything. And suddenly something strikes like a lightning bolt. And even before we realize what struck us, the life suddenly takes a U-turn. Have you ever wondered why you have suddenly started feeling weak of late? Why you have started gaining or losing weight? Why you are thirstier and hungrier than before? Why you are going for urination frequently? Why osteoporosis, the loss of bone mass? If you are a woman, why you are diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome? Why you are getting darkening of skin, especially along neck creases, in the groin and underneath the breast? Why those irregular menstrual cycles? Why mustache and excessive hair growth over unwanted places? If you are a man, why erectile dysfunction? Why development of breast tissue called as gynecomastia? Why decreased sex drive, infertility, decrease in beard and body hair growth? If you are getting anything from this list, you probably have hormonal imbalance. All of us experience at least one or two instances of hormonal imbalance during our lifetime. Hormonal imbalance is more common during puberty, menstruation, and pregnancy. But some people experience continuous hormonal imbalance. This fact makes it the most prevalent disorder amongst all. I'm Dr. Nandkishore from Medical Helpline, and today we are going to learn about hormones, what they are, where they are produced, and what they can cause. This is an overview of hormones. One thing I would like to make it very clear, this is not a tutorial. This is an attempt to acclimatize the non-medical people about certain things they should broadly know about their hormones and how even minutest of imbalance is capable of causing them immense discomfort. What are hormones? Hormones are the chemical messengers of a body. They travel in our bloodstream to target tissues or organs. They work slowly over time and affect many different processes, including growth and development, reproduction, mood, sexual function, and metabolism. What do the hormones do? Hormones basically are communicators between organs and tissues for physiological regulation and behavioral activities. These activities could be digestion, metabolism, excretion, respiration, tissue function, sleep, lactation, growth and development, reproduction, mood, stress induction, sensory perception. Very often people get confused between hormones and neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters are proteins, amino acids, or gases, and they are released by presynaptic nerve terminal into the synapse. Hormones are produced in endocrine glands and are secreted into the bloodstream. Dopamine, serotonin, endorphins are neurotransmitters, while as oxytocin, insulin, glucagon, thyroxin are hormones. They are structurally different, but they mimic in action in certain instances. Coming to the endocrine glands, there are mainly 18 numbers: pituitary, pineal, thyroid, thymus, adrenals, pancreas, and there are two gonads, ovaries and testes. The displayed diagram shows their positions in the body. You need to know a little about hypothalamus before we go any further. The diagram shows where it is situated in the human brain. It's not an endocrine gland, but it has a central control over production of hormones from endocrine glands. It produces certain releasing factors which controls the output of hormones from the pituitary, which in fact is second in command. We own a body which gives equal importance to every organ that it possesses. No part is treated as more important than another. Every part works in unison with every other part. If one stops working, some other gets affected, which in turn affects another. It forms a chain and then the disaster strikes. Don't believe me? Imagine what would happen if an asshole refuses to function. Here the human brain works as a federal government, but any little mischief by any peripheral organ would in turn affect brain. We would learn in details about hypothalamus sometime later. It also forms a part of limbic system that controls our emotions. The hormones are classified into two types, as per their solubility and as per their chemical structure. As per the solubility, they could be water soluble like FSH, LH, TSH and insulin, or lipid soluble like estrogen, testosterone, aldosterone and cortisol. Chemically, they could be peptides, amino acids or steroids. The peptides are oxytocin or insulin, amino acids are melatonin and thyroxin, and steroids estradiol, testosterone and cortisol. Let us come to pituitary gland. It lies just below hypothalamus, size of less than a peanut and weighs just 0.5 grams. That is half a gram. Don't judge it by its smallness. Its functions are enormous. It has two parts, anterior and posterior. The anterior part secretes 7 hormones: growth hormone called as GH, thyroid stimulating hormone or TSH, luteinizing hormone LH, prolactin PRL, follicular stimulating hormone FSH, adrenocorticotropic hormone that is ACTH, melanocyte stimulating hormone MSH. Posterior part secretes 2 hormones, antidiuretic hormone ADH and oxytocin. Growth hormone, in addition to increasing height in children and adolescents, has many other effects on the body. Excess of growth hormone causes gigantism and acromegaly. Deficiency of growth hormone causes slower growth, delayed puberty, low self-esteem, reduced bone strength. TSH controls thyroxin release from thyroid gland. FSH helps control the menstrual cycle and stimulates the growth of eggs in the ovaries. LH helps in ovulation. Prolactin helps in milk production and development of mammary glands within breast tissues. ACTH regulates cortisol and androgen production. MSH protects the skin from UV rays. Antidiuretic hormone helps to control blood pressure by acting on the kidneys and the blood vessels. Its most important role is to conserve the fluid volume of your body by reducing the amount of water passed out in the urine. Oxytocin affects uterine contractions in pregnancy and birth and subsequent release of breast milk. It's popularly called as a bonding hormone or love hormone. Low oxytocin is linked to autism and autistic spectrum disorders. It can cause depression and anxiety. A positive correlation was found between oxytocin levels and the scores for happiness. Pineal gland is situated in the brain, size is even smaller than pituitary gland, weighs less than 0.1 grams. It produces melatonin, and the production of melatonin peaks during sleep. Melatonin regulates circadian rhythm, it regulates sleep, helps regulate blood pressure, body temperature, and cortisol levels as well as sexual and immune functions. Reduced melatonin levels are also observed in various diseases such as dementia, some mood disorders, severe pain, cancer, and diabetes type 2. Thyroid gland produces two hormones, T3 and T4, Tri-idothyronin and Thyroxin. It helps regulate metabolism, growth, development of human body. The thyroid hormones act on nearly every cell in the body. They act to increase the basal metabolic rate, affect protein synthesis, help regulate long bone growth. 1 in 10 adult population suffers from hypothyroidism. That will tell you the enormity of its prevalence in the world. Hypothyroidism, that is low level of thyroxin, can cause tiredness, being sensitive to cold, weight gain, puffiness of face, constipation, depression, slow movements and thoughts, muscle aches and weakness, muscle cramps, and dry skin, while as excess thyroid hormone may cause nervousness, anxiety, and irritability. Hyperactivity, you may find it hard to stay still and have a lot of nervous energy. It can cause mood swings, difficulty sleeping, feeling tired all the time, sensitivity to heat, muscle weakness, and diarrhea. Parathyroid gland produces parathyroid hormone, also called as parathormone. Parathyroid hormone regulates calcium levels in the blood, and it does it through its action on the kidneys, bones, and intestine. Hypoparathyroidism or insufficient secretion of parathyroid hormone leads to increased nerve excitability. The low blood calcium level triggers spontaneous and continuous nerve impulses which then stimulate muscle contractions. Adrenal glands situated over the kidneys. It has two parts, adrenal cortex and adrenal medulla. Adrenal cortex in turn has three parts, outer, middle, and inner. The outer one produces mineralocorticoids like aldosterone, middle one produces glucocorticoids like cortisol, and the inner one produces gonadocorticoids. Adrenal medulla produces two hormones, epinephrine and norepinephrine. Every hormone has different functions. Adrenals help regulate your metabolism, immune system, blood pressure, response to stress, and other essential functions. You all are familiar with pancreas. Diabetes is spreading like wildfire in the world. Pancreas has two kinds of cells, alpha and beta cells. Alpha cells produce glucagon and the beta cells produce insulin. Both have their roles in controlling sugar in your body. Hyperglycemia produces enhanced thirst, hunger, and excessive urination. Coming to gonads, in males, testes. They are two in numbers. They secrete male sex hormones as a group are called as androgens. The principal androgen is testosterone, which is secreted by the testes. Production of testosterone begins during fetal development, continues for a short time after birth, nearly ceases during childhood, and then resumes at puberty. The steroid hormone is responsible for the growth and development of the male reproductive structures, increased skeletal and muscular growth, enlargement of the larynx accompanied by voice changes, growth and distribution of body hair, and increased male sexual drive. Females have ovaries, they are two in numbers. Two groups of female sex hormones are produced in the ovaries, the estrogens and progesterone. These steroid hormones contribute to the development and function of the female reproductive organs and sex characteristics. At the onset of puberty, estrogen promotes the development of the breast, distribution of fat evidenced in the hips, legs, and breast, maturation of reproductive organs such as the uterus and vagina. Progesterone changes the uterine lining in preparation for pregnancy. Together, progesterone and estrogen are responsible for the changes that occur in the uterus during the female menstrual cycle. Apart from these main glands, there are other glands which also produce hormones. Just to make a passing mention of it, thymus produces thymosin, stomach produces gastrin, intestine produces secretin and cholecystokinin, heart produces atriopeptin, and placenta produces chorionic gonadotropin. To summarize, hormones are not only integral but also a very important part of our very existence. They look small, but they have a tremendous role to play in every activity that we do. Hopefully, you got the answers to all those seemingly extraneous questions we started this presentation with. In my next video, we will try to learn about the famous happiness foursome: dopamine, endorphin, serotonin, and oxytocin. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up, kindly share and subscribe. Thank you.